So we've been in December for a couple days now, and I am sort of slowing down a bit. Not a ton, but each day a little bit closer to the end, and I find myself wildly less stressed. And I wanted to, I guess, talk with you guys about just the act of starting a soap business in general today, and the things that I wish I had known before doing so, and the stress levels of this time of the year actually does have something to do with that. I will explain more about what we are talking about in just a minute, but before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 186 of 365 days of soap. And as I said, today I am talking about the top 10 things I wish I had known before starting a soap business. And the reason for that is what I just said before the intro. At this time of the year, I always find myself reflecting, and I thought it might be nice to share those reflections with you today for people who are perhaps new to the soap game or are interested in starting a soap business of their own. Because remember, it's wildly different making soap and building a business. So let's go to the video. We can talk more about it, and we'll catch up here later. Okay, of course, not enough time in this pour to do everything, so we might have to go back to the face for some of it, but let's start with number 10 of 10 things I wish I knew before starting a soap business that you should know. We've already talked about my credentials and how long I've been doing this, so I'm not going to go any further than that. Number 10, how to work social media. I am not a social media person. I really never have been. I use my personal Facebook account to shit post to my relatives during the political season to make them mad, and then I peace out. I really don't use it for anything else. And so I don't have a personal Instagram account. I don't have a personal Twitter account. I don't have a personal TikTok account. I don't social media. I don't give updates about everything in my day because I've never been able to take myself like that seriously. So you need to figure out how to work that. You need to figure out how that all works and watch the trends and spend some time on the things and do that. It's actually incredibly important for a business that you are starting in, the 2020s, which, it was as important when I started my business and not the 2020s. So, and it continues to be important. So pay attention to the trends, do the things, which actually leads really nicely into number 9, know your strengths. If you are not good at social media, stop shooting your business in the foot by putting this on yourself and going, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go do the 3 posts a day. I hate it, but I'm going to do it. If you're not good at it, that actually goes into number 8, delegate. Learn how to delegate. You're not expected to be good at everything. There is not a business alive, big or small. There is not a successful business alive where one person is doing it all. They have teams, they have support systems. If you're not good at social media, hire someone. There are virtual assistants that work for next to nothing. There are all kinds of reputable, also small businesses out there that will do your social media for you. If you're not good at building a website, Hire a web developer. Actually, for that, I would actually put that number 8 in equal parts. Delegate and get yourself a web developer. That is the best thing that you can do for a business in 2021 is have your own personal website and have somebody else freaking design it. Because when you are trying to get your product offerings off the ground and write all your descriptions and do all of your, you don't have time to build your website. For me, I didn't. For me, my best decision ever when I started my business a bajillion years ago was having Mr. Webman. Because he helped focus all of it. And he took the stuff that I am genuinely not interested in, coding a website, off of my plate. So he took a huge stressor off of my plate so my business could thrive. So yeah, no, number 8 would be both of those things. And also a web developer will help you a lot with number 7, which is know your audience. And that's actually really important. Okay, so number 7 is know your audience. And that was one of the first questions that Mr. Webman asked me when we were starting the whole process of designing the website and getting the soap business off the ground. Who's your target market? And I'm like, well, everyone. And he's like, no. And I'm like, no, legit, everyone. Everyone has skin. Everyone uses soap. My target market is everyone. And he's like, that's not going to work. So think about what audience you want to hit. Do you want to go vegan? Do you want to go sensitive skin? Do you want to go into what I ultimately ended up going into, which was like the geek world and playing with, stuff like that? What is the audience that you're going to cater to at a fair or a booth or something around you? Where should your focus be? And your focus cannot be, oh yeah, all 7 billion people on the planet. That you can't do that. So knowing your audience, the target market that you want to reach, helps not only focus your product line, but it also helps focus all of your other marketing, because it all builds on itself, right? You're going to be using the lists that you gain and the social media following that you have, the people who are placing the orders, based on the orders that they are placing, to continue to retarget them and continue building your brand and your product offerings to suit them. And so pay attention to that. Just like with the CBD thing that we talked about. I made CBD bath bombs when I was in a retail shop that in an area that it made sense to make CBD bath bombs. If I was like in a shop in like Alabama, I probably would not be making CBD bath bombs. I don't think the market is there for that. But in the Pacific Northwest, in Tacoma, yeah, it's super there. So pay attention to that, and it helps you actually focus what your product offerings even will be, which, kind of goes to number 6. Speaking of product offerings, making is the fun part. We all started this. We all started making soap because we freaking love to do so. That's only going to be 10% of your freaking day. Everything else, the social media, the website building, the website maintenance, the marketing, the ordering of the supplies for all of the things, the how to prettify your boxes, that makes up the rest of your workday. Making doesn't really take that long. It's the fun part, but and I'm not even talking about like actually overhead and, P&Ls and all. Wow. Making is 10% of your business. And so if you're not ready to actually accept that and understand that while this product that you're selling is, fun, that's not going to be where your focus like super is. Even with delegation, it's still 10% of your day goes into the making. So definitely know that. Still leading into number 5, the making. Product management is key. And less actually is more. I just received literally today an email from a Sudzer who has placed a number of orders on my site. And she sent me an email and talked to me about how she had been in my shop and loves my products and how great they are and how awesome they make her skin feel and all of the things. It was very wonderful. And she starts it out in not an accusatory form, but it still hit in an interesting way, wherein she told me, do you know how big your website is and how much stuff there is? And I'm reading this email and like laughing to myself because I just thought, what if she knew my site 6 months ago when I had over 400 unique products on it and I was trying to maintain that inventory? Inventory management is important, and you do not have to make all of the things. The route that I have chosen to take in the last year or so with just having limited edition things, and once they're gone, I have found huge fulfillment in, because it allows me to continue making and doing what I love, but it also doesn't clog up my website so terribly much that the end user, the customer, the person that wants to buy the things is not overwhelmed at all of the options and the possibilities. Less really is more. And that's something that should definitely be taken into consideration when you are designing your inventory line and trying to figure out what it is that you want to sell. You don't have to sell it all. And actually, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about knowing the trends. I don't mean know the trends in soap making. I was speaking specifically about knowing the trends in social media, like what is getting more traffic, more interest on Instagram these days. Pictures or videos, you know? Long videos or short videos, if you're looking at YouTube, you know? Pay attention to those social media trends. Do not pay attention to the trends that exist within the soap making world, right? We don't all need to sell yoni bars. And in all actuality, it's a bad idea to sell yoni bars. So every time you see something from some other soaper that's like, you know, something you had never heard of, and that particular post is getting a lot of traffic or whatever on the soap forums, that does not mean that you need to go make it. It really doesn't. If that is not part of your product offering and part of the way that you are, you know, working your business and the target audience that you are trying to hit, you do not need to jump on that trend train. And that will actually help out with your product management a whole lot. You don't have to make everything. And you should realistically only make the things that make sense to you. And that should be your target audience as well. The things that make sense to you and that bring you joy. I received so many, I guess we'll actually talk about that later, with my number one thing that I wish I knew in the soap making world, for sure. But you don't have to follow the trends when it comes to what's hot and new and fresh in soap. And honestly, in a lot of instances, that might lead you down a path that will ultimately hurt your business more than help it. Because if you are just following trends, you are not going to show your most authentic self, which actually does lead me to number 4. Show your most authentic self. Obviously, as business owners, our entire goal is to, you know, sell the product. Otherwise, it's not a successful business. But if you are selling a product that you don't believe in, but just because it's trendy and you think that it's going to sell, that's going to come across as inauthentic to the end user. That's going to come across as inauthentic to your customers. So we don't want to do that. Do the things that you love. If you're not into Harry Potter, don't make Harry Potter soaps. If you know nothing about Game of Thrones, stop it. If you've never seen a Pokemon in your freaking life, stop making Pokebombs. Do the things that bring you joy, the things that you can talk to other people about at a fair or online or whatever, to show how authentic you are in this beautiful art that you have created. And don't try to be somebody else's version of authenticity. I hate how scoldy I always sound in these sorts of things. I'm just trying to get information out quickly. Sorry, not scolding. Number 3, online reputation is everything. Even when you have a brick and mortar. You have to pay attention to what is going on in your online audience. You have to pay attention to, the order does not end with you shipping it out. That is not it. You are building a relationship with your customers. You are building a community that they want to be a part of, they want to come back to. And if you are, shit posting on your business socials, if you are, just popping off on Twitter, if you're getting bad reviews and doing nothing about them, I've been in business for several years and do not have a single negative review. And that is not because customers have never been unhappy with my products. It's because I pay attention to that. And if anybody has a problem, the first thing most customers are going to do is send you an email. Answer that freaking email, and don't answer it defensively. Talk to them about what their problems are. Help them find a good resolution. Be there and present, and don't think for one hot second that anything you put on the internet or anything that you sell or anything that you do online ends the second you hit post, or that a customer and your transaction is completed the second they, give you their hard-earned doll hairs for your product. Your online reputation is absolutely everything. Again, even if you have a brick and mortar. Pay attention to that. Care about that. Care about them. Because those are the people who pay your bills. And those are the people that you were connecting with and building a huge community. So do that. Number 2 would be learning when to shut it down in a day. I wish I had known that. That's why it's number 2 on my list. I have a problem. And I know that a lot of you actually do work from home. You're working out of your garages, out of your basements, out of your kitchens. Do not go and build a soap at 10 o'clock at night. Hang out with your family. Go to bed. We need to talk more about this. So I guess we're going to the end of number 2 and also number 1 back to the face part. So you can watch me look scoldy and sound it. Yeah, so I guess we need to talk about number 2 and number 1 here. The knowing when to stop, number 2, that one's actually very important. You need to know what your finish point is for the day. You need to set very firm boundaries on yourself when it comes to your soap business. You have a whole ass life outside of making, outside of growing this business. And if you find yourself spending all of your time doing the business, you're missing out on the point of life. And that was something that was very, very difficult for me when everything was done in-house. And for a lot of you, I think your soap business is done in-house. And so just keep that in mind. The soap can wait until tomorrow. Your family can't. And so that would be number 2. Number 1, biggest, most important thing that I wish I had known and learned before starting a soap business was knowing when to say no. We stretch ourselves very thin with all of this, or at least I certainly have over the years. And that's not good. I found myself jumping through someone else's hoops for someone else's vision all of the time, trying to accommodate everyone around me to make them happy. At the end of the day, you're not going to make everyone happy. It's not possible. And if you are unhappy in the process of not being able to make everyone else unhappy, it's not healthy. So my number 1 thing that I wish I had known and that I want to share with you is knowing when to say no. Set your boundaries, be firm with them, and don't try to be something that you're not. That really does it for me today, you guys. I hope you guys had a good time with today's video. Hope you learned some things. Hope you found some of this interesting. What are things that you, if you guys are established soap makers, what are things that you wish you had known before starting a soap business? Drop them below. I would like to have a conversation about all of that. I'm going to go spend some time with my kidlets and my husband and do all of the awesome Christmassy things. And so I'm out of here again for the day. But I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.